Hello.
Hi Mario, good luck. Hi.
You you guys finished the blood yesterday? 136?
Yeah,
Okay.
we're now 137, correct.
Where's the Rabbi Segelman?
He went to a
Shabbaton.
Yavna Shabbaton,
Where?
up in Running Springs, up near Big Bear. His,
Oh.
his wife is the assistant principal at Yavna, so he went along.
She is?
Yeah, yeah,
I didn't know that.
yeah.
That's the way Bnei Akiva camp is, I think. Cold like hell. Wow.
Yeah, and the wind, I don't know about now. Today was so nice. I don't know what the weather was there, but beautiful day here. Nice.
Yeah, but there it's I've been in the winter there.
Oh,
And it's
yeah, I don't
cold.
like the cold.
Cold. So much so that the whole cafeteria was destroyed. Doesn't know if they fixed
Oh,
it.
really?
Yeah, with the snow.
Oh, they crushed the roof or something?
Well, it was all a big giant tent, giant.
Oh, oh.
So it just. Hi, Ed.
Hello, Shabbatov, everybody.
So where are you? Here in China?
I'm here. Got here Thursday.
I know.
Yeah. My head is still in China.
Sorry?
I said my head is still in China.
You took what?
I said my head is still in China.
Oh, I see. But last time you were in Hong Kong, right? No, this time you were in
Shanghai.
mainland, in Shanghai.
Shanghai.
A lot of people speak English there? No?
Not a lot. No, actually not.
Hmm.
Hong Kong is different. Hong Kong is the old
Yeah,
timers all speak English properly,
yeah.
but Shanghai very few. This trip was very nobody really spoke English.
Mhm.
Not that I speak Chinese, but
Shavua Tov, everybody.
Shabbat tov.
what of
Kuf Lamed Zion. 137. Tomorrow we'll learn at 8 o'clock.
Okay.
Tanoihi. We're talking about when a person gives a matana and says, after you, when you die, you should go to another person. And after that person, go to a third person. So how this works is about Chlokas Tanya. The Chosaylach Vacharach Leploni. I want to give you my assets to Reuven. And after Reuven dies, I want it to go to Shimon. V'yarad rishon u'mochar v'achal. Reuven goes ahead and sells it or eats the payros. So really he had no right to do it because it's supposed to go to another party after his death. So the sheni is moitzi miyad alakuchos. Whoever bought the material from Reuven, Shimon can go and get it from them. Divrei Rebbe. So Rebbe seems to be holding that whatever the kind of kinyan Reuven has, it's not a complete kinyan. So if he sells it, it's not a real good sale. Rav Shimon Omer ein l'sheni ela masha shayir rishon. Rav Shimon argues, if Reuven leaves something, he didn't sell all of the assets, then Shimon gets that. But what was sold doesn't go back to Shimon. And then, so where's the machlokas tanoim? Because Riminu. I'll show another brisa. The chasai lach, the person gives a matana to Reuven, and then v'acharayich leploni. After you die, Reuven, I want those assets to go to Shimon. Yored rishon u'moicha v'oichel. Divrei Rebbe. So here Rebbe takes a completely opposite stance and says that Reuven can sell it and eat it lechatchila, which is directly opposite what we said before. And Rav Shimon Gamliel Omer ein l'rishon el achilas peres bilvad. Reuven only gets to eat pears, so he sells. It's not as good sale. So kasha Rebbe Rebbe, kasha Rav Shimon Gamliel, Rav Shimon Gamliel. We have the two brises that are in contradictory to each other. So Rebbe loy kasha, the first brisa, where Rebbe said if Reuven sells something, it's not really sold, because Shimon can get it out of those guys if he sold it. That's legufo. That's if Reuven tries to sell the gufa karka itself. He's not allowed to do that. But the second brisa, where he says that he's allowed to sell and eat, that's lepere. The payros goes to Reuven. And he can't sell the gufa karka, but he can sell the payros. And Rav Shimon Gamliel loy kasha. The second brisa, where he said that really the Rishon only has achilas payros, that's lechatchila. But the fact that if he sold in the first price, where Rav Shimon says the Shimon cannot get it out of Lukochos, that's the Evet. The Maisa, you shouldn't sell. If he sold it, it's sold. In fact, Amar Abaye, Zeh Rasha Arum, what's considered a tricky and evil person? Zeh Amasi Eitz Limkor ben Achosim Karav Shimon Gamliel. Somebody who gives advice to somebody to sell, because we learn l'chadchila, you shouldn't sell. L'chadchila, if you do it, you can't reverse it. He doesn't say you're allowed to do l'chadchila. It's only b'di'evet if you sell it. So somebody gives an ace to sell, he's a Russia. How do we paskin? That if the Reuven is oiver this halacha and sells, the sheni Shimon will only get something that Reuven leaves over from the matana that he got from the original noisei. If Reuven sold everything, Shimon doesn't get anything. However, umoide she'im nosnon b'matna shchibura. Now, Reuven was given a gift, and it's supposed to go to Shimon after his death. If Reuven is on his deathbed and he gives a matana shchibura to us, not to Shimon, to somebody else, then lo asa klum. He has no right to do that. And Shimon can go and get it out of that guy that was given a matna shchibura by Reuven. My time, how does that work? So how does the mechanism kinyonim by Shchim? Abaye says This Matna Shchibra only sort of takes hold after death itself. But prior to that, which means at the moment of death, so this is a tricky concept here, and the transition, the moment before he's actually dead, Kvar Kodmu Acharayich. Shimon already was given it because the original Noisein said, I'm giving you Ruvain this, but after your death, it goes to the second guy. And that, Abaya says, happens the Rega before Misa. So the Gemara says, Umiyomar Abaya Hachi. Is that true? That a Matna Shchivra, the Kinyan is only after Misa? Vaha Itmar. We have a Baraisa. Or they had an Amaraic discussion. Matna Shchivra Ramei Masaikon. They actually discussed this. When is the chalois of the Kinyan when a Shchivra, a Goses on his deathbed, gives something away? Abaya Omar im Gemar Misa means the moment of death itself. So it's not like, which is the Rega before his death. So it's not like Abaya said before, it's lo kona lo achar Misa. It's Gemar Misa. Gemar Misa is a moment before achar Misa. Rava Amar la'achar Gemar Misa. And Rava argues with the Bait and says, no, it's after death. So how did we resolve this? Hadr be'abaya me'ayi. He went back on that halacha where he said that it's with Gemar Misa. And mimai dema'ayi hadr be. How do you know he went back on that? Dema'meh hadr be. Maybe he went back on the other concept of lachar Misa. So lo salkadai. This not. Zegitech imati. Person gives his wife a get and says, this is a get with my death. Or zeh gitech mecholi zeh. Or zeh gitech lachar Misa. All of these things lo amar klum. A get is not chal after the death of somebody. A dead man cannot give a get. Which implies when you say, I'm giving a shchivmer a gift, the kavana is only lachar Misa. So since the kavana is after Misa by get, it doesn't work by shchivmer, it works. That if person gives a gift to Ruvain, then Vacharayach l'Shimon, and Ruvain sells it, the sale's a good sale. Even if they were avodim and he freed them. Gemara says pshita. I mean, he told me if he can sell it, then what's the problem? When the guy who gave the gift to Ruvain, he never intended to do an Isser. You're not allowed to free up free slaves. Kamash Blan that no. Since it's in his rishus at this time, he's allowed to free them. Rav Yosef from Rav Yechilok Rav Shimon Gamliel. Va'afilu ason tachrichin lemeis. He was given garment, and he turned it into shrouds for a mace, which is asr bana. He's allowed to do. So again, pshita. If he can do whatever he wants with it, what's the problem? Maybe l'shavinu yisra no lo yavi lecha. When a guy gives a gift to somebody, if the guy wants to make it in Isra, no, maybe that's not his intent in the gift. Kamash Blandet, no, since it's Nechashim is in his rishus, he's allowed to do it. Dorish Rav Nachman bar Rav Kizda. Esrog zen nosan l'cha b'maton of achrayich leplain. I'm giving you this esrog, Ruvain. And then after you, I wanted to go to Shimon. Not Lurishon v'yotzebo. It's Sukkos. Reuven takes it to shake the lulav. And we know on the first day it has to be lachem, it has to belong to the person who takes it. So the Gemara says, Bana l'machlekas Rebbe Rav Shimon Gamliel. How much of a kinyan you have? Are you the complete owner or not the complete owner? So we've seen this is a machlokes, Rabbi Rishon Gamliel, the type of the kinyan. Since, according to Rebbe, the first guy cannot sell it completely. If he sells it, Shimon can go and get it out of the guys who bought it. So he doesn't have a complete kinyan in it, and therefore he's not yoitz in the lulav and esrog. But according to Shimon Gamliel, that b'diavad, if he sells it, it's a complete sale. Chatchila, we learn he shouldn't do it. But if he does it, it's a complete sale. He's yoitz in his lulav. Maski for Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak. Ad kan lepika Rebbe Rav Shimon Gamliel Hasam. The machlokas of I give you to Ruvain, and after Ruvain goes to Shimon, it's totally in the following machlokas. The Marsar of Shimon Gamliel says kinyan pairs kinyan gufta. Technically, since the giver who's giving a gift to Ruvain and wants it after Ruvain's death to go to Shimon, he's basically, it's use of fruit only. He's giving it to use the fruit. Because if he wants the asset to go over to Shimon later on, basically he's given Ruvain the right to use the fruits during his lifetime. After Ruvain's death, the field goes over to Shimon, and now he can use the fruits. Now, when you have a kinyan in Peiros, how strong is that kinyan? So Rav Shimon Gamliel holds a kinyan Peiros is like a kinyan aguf. It's like you own it completely. Therefore, if you shake the lulav, it's your lulav, and you're yotzei. No, we're not by lulav. By the sale, where Reb Shimon Gamliel said it's a good sale. So, even though he only had kinyan peiros, it's considered a kinyan aguf, and therefore you're allowed to sell it. Because if you own the kinyan aguf, if you own the guf of karka, you can sell it. Mar Sofer opinion, kinyan peiros, like kinyan aguf, just because you have the right to eat peiros doesn't give you the right of ownership of the land. You can't sell it. That's the machlokas there. Elahacha, I meifik lo nafik bei, l'mayu avanile. When the giver of the esrog to Ruvain gave it to him, I mean, why did he give it to him? Not to be yoitzer, the mitzvah. That's the whole point of an esrog. So that nesina, nobody's going to question that it was given for him to be yoitzer with it, even Rebbe. When the guy shook the lulav, everybody holds, Rebbe and Reb Shimon Gamliel, that is yoitzer mitzvah's lulav, even according to Rebbe. The only issue is machra oy achla. If the first guy either sold the lulav or ate it, then badal machlokes Rebbe Reb Shimon Gamliel. According to Rebbe, if Ruvain sold it, Shimon can come along and take it away from the guys who bought it from Ruvain. Or if Reuven ate it, Reuven has to pay Shimon the value of the money. But according to Shimon Gamliel, we learn masha machor machor. Lechatchila, you shouldn't sell him, but the evidence, if you sold, it's a good sale. Amar Rav Huna. Ha'achin shekanu esrog b'tfusas abayis. You have 5 brothers. They inherited the estate of the father. They haven't divided up the assets yet. Within these assets is an esrog. Not lu echad man v'yatzabo. One of the brothers, it was Sukkis, he stood up and he took the esrog and he was yotzei lulav with this esrog. So, we asked the other brothers, would you have allowed him to eat this esrog if he wanted to eat it? Yotza. Then the brother who did it is yotza the mitzvah. If they wouldn't have allowed him to consume the esrog, imlav lo yotza, because it's really not his. He shares it in a communal ownership with the other brothers. And since on the first day of Sukkot it's got to be lachem, so he lacks the lachem. Now, the Gemara now qualifies what it just said. Davka de'ike esrog l'kol chad v'chad. And even when we said that you ask the brothers and they allow him to eat it, And then we said Yotza, that's if there are 5 Esroigim. But if they didn't have all Esroigim, Aval Parish or Rima, if they had some other pomegranate or something else, low, then everybody would hold. It has nothing to do whether he can eat or not. It's shared ownership. Amarav. Etrog zen nosel chab matana. Al menashe tachzirli. This is a case every year on Sukkot. You give somebody an esrog b'matana with a t'nai that you give that you have to give it back to me. The guy you give it to, not lo v'yotzabo, he can, as long as he returns it, right? Not lo v'yotzabo. Hechziru yotza. If he fulfills the t'nai and he gives it back to the guy who gave it to him, then yotza. Because amanasha tachziruli, it's a matana. Then it's a full matana if he fulfilled the t'nai of giving it back. He gave it back. It's a full matana. Therefore, it was his when he shook it, and now he gives it back, and that's how you do it. If somebody doesn't have an esrig, and he wants to shake your esrig, so you give him a matana amanas lahachzir, and the guy shakes it and gives it back to you, and Chaim al Shalom al Yisrael, and it's all good. But lo echziru lo yotza. If he doesn't give it back, he didn't fulfill the Tanai, then he is not yotze. Because there was never a matan in the first place. Kamash malon, matana manas lachzer shma matan. So if you give somebody a gift with a proviso that the guy who gave it to you returns it to you, it's still considered a gift. It's shma matana. So, for example, you gave somebody a gift of a piece of land, and you stipulated, I want you to give it back within a year. And the guy ate payros for that year. If at the end of the year you fulfilled it, not give it back, no problem. If you didn't give it back, you have to pay the guy for all the payros you ate, because it's not a good gift. So it's not just relates to esrog, it relates to dinei mominus regarding this issue of matana manas lahachzir. Okay, there's many other nafkaminas in business and choshen mishpat regarding those issues. Here's an interesting case. It's a dahavi ladikla ba'ara de Rav Bibi Barabayu. A woman owned a palm tree on the land of Rav Bibi. Rav Bibi must have sold her a tree on his property. So it belongs, the tree and its fruit belong to the woman, but it's on the property of Rav Bibi. Kol emes dava azas lemigzri have a copy to lie. The woman would want to periodically go into the field to cut the fruits of the palm tree that she owns. But Rav Bibi wasn't happy, because there were all sorts of vegetation that she would walk on her way to the tree. So, the woman said, I'm gonna give him the rights to eat the payros meanwhile, temporarily. And aknisan, and they made a kinyan. L'chol shani chayav. As long as Rav Bibi is alive, he can eat the payros. I'm never going to bother him anymore, but I want the tree back after his death. She wanted it back to her after. This is not a case of I'm giving a gift to Reuven, and after Reuven's death, it goes to Shimon. No, it's a case of giving a gift to Reuven. After Reuven's death, it comes back to me. That's clearly the case. But Rav Bibi went ahead, Azal iu akne niale, livno akotten. Rav Bibi gave it to his son. Amar Avuna Breder of Yeshua, Mishum de Asimu Mulayam. You are born from the Bnei Eli, remember the Bnei Eli were given a curse that they wouldn't live long. That you're saying halach have no basis. Afilu Reb Shimon Gamliel lo ka'amar. When Reb Shimon Gamliel said that if Reuven sells something or gives something, that's if it's meant to go to another person, like Shimon. Aval atzmo lo. But even Reb Shimon wouldn't agree that if he sold it or gave it to somebody that it would work if it's supposed to go back to the original giver. So Rabbi Rabbiya was not correct what he did. La'atzmo lo. All these dinim that we said that if it's sold, it's machur. That's only in a case of a gift was given to Reuven that's supposed to go over to Shimon after Reuven's death. But if it's supposed to come back to the original giver, there was never an intent to give the goof of the item to the next party to be able to sell them. Amrav Nachman. Shor zen noisin l'cha b'matana, amenasher tachziruli. I'm giving you this ox as a matana, but with the proviso that you give it back to me. Now, the guy that it was given to, Hikdishu, was magnish to the base of Mikdash, and Verziru, and he gave it back. It's Harezim Mukdash Musa. Everything he was Makabel. Remember, we said if there's a matana manas lachsir, so once you return it, it becomes a complete matana, and therefore it was his to give it, and therefore it's Mukdash. The Hegdish is Chal. And it was considered Musar. Even though, I mean, you could argue, well, what is he returning? Amalei Rav Nachman, my hadri. I mean, what was he Maser? It's Hegdish now. Amalei, so Umay Chasrei, he gave him back the shore. Ravashi Chazina. We see exactly the lotion of the Tanai. I Omar Lei. Al menashe tachziruhu. Here's a gift on the condition that you return it to me. Hadre. Well, then even if he was magdish, it is considered a return. He omar la al menashe tachziruhu li. So immediately chazilei ka omar le. It's something that's got to be roy to him, and since it's magdish now, it's not considered chazara. So therefore, it was never returned. Therefore, the matana is reversed. Therefore, he never had the right to be magdish it, and therefore it's not hegdish because it was not his. Wow, that's a very good case. Shmuel. He gives over his assets to Reuven. The Amar Allah, and Reuven says, I don't want the gift. Kana. Reuven cannot refuse it. Vafilu oime v'tzoveach. And he's yelling, and I don't want. But Rav Yechon Amar loy kana. If he's not masking to the gift, he's not kind of. Amar Abba bar mama v'loy pligi. Kan b'tzovech mikar, kan b'shreisik mikar v'sof. It depends. If he's yelling the whole time from the beginning, then he never acquires it. But if he's quiet initially, then only later, then he cannot get rid of the matana. We'll go into that a little bit more in depth tomorrow. We will learn nach in a half hour.
Bye-bye.